Hi, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Susan here, obviously. It's the 27th of April, 2025, and it's just after 11 o'clock UK time. I haven't been on for such enough a long time. Obviously, there's a lot happening, but to be honest, I think a lot of it is theatre, previously planned. So it's not worth talking about from this perspective, and not for the people who watch anyway, because you're probably all aware of what's happening in underneath the headlines. Um, but there was one headline yesterday. I don't watch TV. I don't watch the news. But I do get headlines on my phone. So occasionally, if I'm interested, pull that up. And there was one that caught my attention yesterday. Um, Good news, which is unusual these days in the UK. Um, and it was basically that the powers that be, or the powers that think they be, have decided to review the method of funding the BBC, British Broadcasting Corporation, for those who don't know. Now, currently, for anybody who's watching this not in the UK or Great Britain, we have to pay a TV license. I think at the moment it's something like £175 a year. Um, so we have to pay this TV license, excuse me, um, to be able to watch any live TV. Obviously, you can get Netflix or Sky or whatever separately, but if you watch any of the live local TV stations, BBC, ITV, whatever, even if you stream any of the BBC iPlayer or whatever, like these type of things, then you have to have this TV license. And if not, there's a big fine. So you have to tell them that you don't need it. You can't just not pay it. You have to actually tell them that you don't need it or they keep hassling you. I did tell them I didn't want it, and they still kept hassling me. But apparently, there's this big fine, and it really comes across as threatening and so on. So I make a point of just not watching any of it in case I fall foul. And not only that, I don't like to be hypocritical. I don't want to fund the BBC. I don't want to watch any of the narrative being thrown at me. I have no reason to watch any of it, and I'm really careful when I have visitors that they don't switch on CBeebies or something like that. Um, so yes, I stick by the principles. There's one or two things that I miss because I don't buy a TV license. There are one or two things that I used to watch that I miss, but to be honest, they became so corrupt. Well, not they can't. They just what's in my mind made them not pleasurable to watch anymore. So I'm not watching it. But anyway, the news was this headline was that they were having to review the way that the BBC was funded because, and this was the good news, there are fewer and fewer people buying a TV license. Yes. In other words, there are fewer and fewer people willing to be dragged down with the narrative and the negativity and the oh, just all the rubbish that's thrown at you over the BBC. And they were looking. This article said that they were looking for a way forward with the BBC. And what went through my mind was how about honesty and clarity, openness, lack of criminality. You know, stop all that. We know the number of criminal acts that have been performed by people who work for the BBC, and they've deliberately hidden it. Um, Not just hidden it, but allowed it to perpetrate. Obviously, a certain JS was the classic example, but not the only one. There have been several since. So, yeah, um, I am so pleased that fewer and fewer people are buying a TV license. And I hope that that means that they're not falling down the rabbit hole, the they're not following the narrative anymore. They're doing their own research, etc. And they're beginning to wake up to what is really happening out there and not, oh, well, the BBC said it. I'm still hearing that. I'm still hearing that from intelligent people. Well, it must be true because the BBC said it. Anyway, we're getting there. More and more people are understanding what's happening. More and more people are refusing to be dragged. Oh, and another one I saw recently is that because of the limitations in broadcasting and the lack of freedom of speech in the UK, that BitChute are pulling out. Now, BitChute was one of my go-to early doors. The Fall of the Cabal, for instance, I'm sure that was on BitChute early doors. And that was an excellent series, well researched, well produced. Um, so it may well be that folk in the UK are going to have to start using a VPN. I don't know, not that I would advocate anything criminality or whatever, but we can't be restricted in what we see and what we hear. We have to be allowed to do our own research with a decent search engine that doesn't restrict what you're finding when you do the search. But anyway, it looks like it's it, we're working our way around it, and the system is still trying to restrict uh, what we see, what we hear. But the people are not taking it anymore. They're not buying TV licenses. They're looking at alternatives, and that can only be good news. I'm so delighted at that. So, just for a change, I've got the good news to share. It's a sunny day, so live, love, be happy. The only person who can instill fear in you is yourself. Remember that. And if you feel that this can help a discussion in the right direction, then by all means share it with people. But I'm not one of these people who goes, "Oh, share, like, and subscribe," because it's non-monetary station anyway. It's just me, and I want everybody to be happy. So thanks for watching. See you again.